Hello. Today we're going to look at a game in the Caro-Kann defense. This game was played in Denmark between two European masters. Our themes will be open files, better development, coordination of pieces. Our ECO code will be B16, and this will be the Bronstein Larsen variation of the Caro-Kann. So let's get started. White opens with the normal move E4, C6, D4, D5, knight to C3, D takes E4, knight takes E4, and now black plays knight to F6. This is a little bit out of the ordinary. Normally you would see white play his bishop maybe to F5 or his B knight to D7. But in the Bronstein-Larsen, black brings his knight out to F6. White happily accepts the knight, and black takes with his G-pawn. G takes F6. This is the beginning position of the Bronstein-Larsen variation of the Caro-Kann. What black has in mind, he wants to use the open G file to attack white's king, and he will also use his H-pawn to help assist in this attack. And I'm going to take a moment here and kind of give you an idea of how black wants to develop his pieces. He'll bring his bishop either to F5 or G4, and a lot of times the knight's brought to G4 when white brings his knight to F3. Where the bishop is placed, whether it be G4 or F5, is a personal preference depending on how you want to play this variation. I see more players play it to F5 than I do to G4. Of course, you're not going to play your bishop to G4 if the knight has not moved, because you'll end up losing it with queen takes G4. Black will also develop his B knight to D7. His queen will go to C7. After the pawn goes to E6, the bishop will go to D6. Black will castle queenside, and he will use his rooks in this open file and the H-pawn to attack the white king. Well, let's see how this game develops. After G takes F6, white plays C3. Black plays bishop to F5, knight to F3, E6, and now G3. Many times you'll see white play this move because he knows that black plans on using his H-pawn and the open G file to attack his king. So he will play this pawn to G3, finish at his bishop, and use that as what he feels is the best defense of his king on the king's side. Black will continue his development with queen to C7, bishop to F4, and bishop to D6. White exchanges bishops. Black retakes with his queen, bishop to G2, knight to D7, continue the development that I showed in the beginning of the game. White castles king side, black castles queen side, and now 13 is rook to E1. Black plays bishop to G6, and now white plays his knight to D2, F5. Black wants to possibly begin an attack here on the king side. White plays knight to C4, attacking black's his queen. Black retreats the queen to C7, and now white plays queen to A4, attacking the pawn at A7. Black plays the natural move, king to B8, and now white plays queen to B4, knight to F6, and now white begins a little journey with his knight to add to the pressure on the black king on the queen side. He plays knight to E5, black plays knight D5, attacking the queen. White retreats the queen to B3. Now rook at H to E8, knight to D3, F4, hoping to break open white's pawns around the king. Now white plays knight to c5, and here white threatens knight to a6, forking the king and queen. So black responds with queen to b6, offering to exchange queen. White obliges, and a takes b6. The knight retreats back to e4, and now f takes g3, accomplishing a little bit of what black wanted to do by starting to break open the pawn structure around the white king. White plays h takes g3, and now black plays h5. This is the thematic pawn push I mentioned earlier. White plays rook to e2, h4, white takes g takes h4, and now rook to h8. White plays knight to g5. He wants to reposition this knight for better defense on the king side. Black plays rook takes h4, and now black has the open h file and the g file for his rooks, and he will use this to the maximum. White plays knight to f3, the rook retreats to h6, and now knight to e5, and black plays rook to g8. Now black, like I said, has both his rooks on the open files, looking at the white king, which is only defended by the bishop at g2, which is after the g6 bishop would move, he would be pinned by the rook. White plays, after rook to g8, he plays f3. Now, if you thought that possibly knight takes g6 was a better move than f3, you're actually wrong. Black would respond with rook takes g6, f4 would be the best response, and knight takes f4, and the knight has forked the bishop that is pinned and the rook. So you can see that maybe by removing a possible attacker, you're actually putting your pieces in the worst place, and your white's loss would be even faster than the actual game. Let's go back to the game. After rook to g8, white had played f3, and now black plays knight to f4. He's attacking the rook and bishop. The rook moves to d2, and now black plays bishop to f5, repositioning the bishop and opening up the file for the rook at g8. White plays knight to c4, and now bishop to h3. White has only his rook defending the rook and king defending the bishop at g2, where black has his bishop, knight, and rook attacking the bishop. So white naturally brings his knight back to e3 to defend the bishop. Black plays bishop takes g2, knight takes g2, and now rook at h to g6. And you can see that white has only his rook and king defending the pinned knight at g2, where black has his knight and both rooks bearing down on the knight, and at this point in the game, white resigned. Also, I want you to notice that the rook at a1 has not moved the entire game, so in effect you can say that because of the lack of development by white, he played this game a piece short. And that's why better development will always give you much better chances of winning. And you can see that black's pieces are much better coordinated than white's, and thus the attack on the white king was a success. Well, I hope you enjoyed the game. I have some more of this variation coming up, so enjoy.